There's a big debate currently going on as to whether or not these new brake traction control systems are as good, if not even better, than traditional lockers, and well, I'm going to try to settle the debate in today's video. In order to demonstrate the difference between lockers and an advanced traction control system, we're going to use the LX700H Overtrail. This has Toyota's multi-terrain select system, which is a brake traction control system, but it also comes with a center differential lock, and more importantly, it has a diff lock for the front and for the rear, so it's got both systems. The only other vehicle that I know that has a similar setup to this is the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. The obstacle we'll be using today has some rock. It also has quite a bit of sand, and so this will push the traction. The other part of this is it's a series of steps, so it will make the LX have to articulate, which will push the traction further. Do my best to take the exact same line both times. Understand it won't be absolutely perfect. It's impossible to truly take the same line. This first test is with MTS. And the first thing I can tell you is I'm already having to kind of angle the steering wheel a little bit because the truck wants to lean to the driver's side. And, you know, to stay on line, I don't want to do that. But it got through. It took a little bit of work. It got through. Okay, now we're coming down here. This should just be right before we go up the rock wall. The weight transfer on this, I'm still definitely getting used to. Okay, here we go. We got either side spinning. That was front driver and rear passenger. See, I'm shifting a bunch. So it's like I have to correct with my steering where the vehicle is, because of all the weight shift that happens as wheels spin. Stuck again, it's going through. So obviously we got through it. I wouldn't call that like a crazy amount of drama. Again, this isn't like an insanely difficult obstacle, but it does show you kind of what these traction systems do is they move you all over the place and you have to constantly correct as that movement's happening. Lockers on. It was slightly misaligned from the start, so this should be pretty lined up now that I took a slight turn. Now you can see the warning on the dash. Traction control is turned off. So when you have the lockers on, that is going to, and it keeps giving me warnings, that's annoying. It gives you, it turns off the traction control, so it's going to full mechanical. Now I am still sliding a little bit. I mean, this is a vehicle that weighs over 6,000 pounds, but I feel like I've got quite a bit more control and there's a lot less sliding. Like right here, for example, that transition as I'm going up the obstacle and as the suspension's articulating from one side to the next, right, I was sliding to the side because there was spinning, but this time there's no spinning. So I've got way more control. Both can get up. The lockers are a little bit quicker. And the big thing is I have more control, less sliding, so I can really point myself onto the obstacle and keep myself where I want to be so then I can get over the obstacle in the best possible way. We've now settled the debate. Lockers have been, always will be better. And that is true to an extent, but there is one last thing we have to mention in today's video, and that is turning radius. So with the lockers locked, horrible turning radius. Like, it's not the worst on the planet, but right, you're gonna be dragging the front and the rear end because it has to send 50% of the power to either side. So yeah, with the lockers, I mean, you can see this is just, and it's fighting me too, right? Not great. But if I unlock those diffs, which these are in like the most inconvenient place on the planet, with how the sun is, I can't even see the diff lock icons. It's completely like blacked out in that corner. But we'll quickly go down this hill here. Okay, so it indicates that the diffs are unlocked. By the way, these Toyota diff locks are really quick to engage or disengage. I think a lot of other journalists just don't know how to drive cars. So here we go. Tight turn. No, I mean, there's a little bit of steering fight back because I do still have the center diff locked. If you want the best possible turning radius, then you unlock the center differential, but you don't want to have that on a steep hill because you can roll back pretty abruptly. But yeah, it makes the turning radius a lot better. And so it's really going to depend on what you're doing. I think in low risk situations where you can have some movement side to side, the traction control system, the MTS or other traction control systems out there are more convenient and it makes turning easier and all that kind of stuff. But in higher risk situations where you need to be very precise with the vehicle, lockers are always going to win out. They're going to be a bit safer, and that control means that, well, you don't have to worry about totaling your vehicle, however expensive or inexpensive it is.